We are back and rolling, y'all. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dee Dee for those of you who are new here. Today's video I'm going to be talking about my new set of lock extensions for the millionth time, and I'm also going to talk to you guys about the pros and cons of having lock extensions versus having your own locks. First, let's talk about the lock extensions that are on my head. I went back to the original person who's ever done my lock extensions. So let's start off with the reason why I got lock extensions all over again after going crazy and cutting all of my hair off last year. So the first reason is because I had a baby boy. His name is Azil. He's super cute, super cuddly, super fluffy. But yeah, I had him, and if you guys don't know anything about babies, they are a handful. They take up all your time. They are vampires, cute little vampires. But because I didn't have time to really focus on my hair anymore, I needed something that was easy to manage, easy to deal with, and cute to put up in a style. So I opted for lock extensions, and this is what you guys are seeing. So this time around I went for 12 inches, 0.2 centimeters, and I wanted 140 of them, but I believe we only managed to put 133. I wanted something more, and this is what we went for. And so along with getting a new set of lock extensions, I've also decided that this time around I wanted to interlock my roots, and this is how it's looking right now. I feel like interlocking is going to give me the ability to go longer periods of time without having to retouch my roots. Within my lock journey, I've learned quickly that my hair does not grow into my locks. So basically, as my locks are growing out, my hair just kind of like wilds out and kind of like puffs out on the side. So I've learned quickly that doesn't work for me. So interlocking is going to be a way that I'm going to ensure that my hair is going into my lock, kind of like interlocking the root. And then also I feel like it lasts longer, it looks fresher and a little bit more natural. So that's the reason why I opted for interlocking this time around. Now let's jump into the pros and cons. We're gonna start off with lock extensions. So the pros of having lock extensions for me is that it's instant gratification. You want locks, you got them the next day. The way that they do them is that they start by crocheting your own hair. So they do instant locks with your own hair, and then they take the lock extensions and attach it to your own instant locks. You guys can look up videos on that on YouTube to kind of see the mechanism of it, but it's instant gratification. Today you're a loose natural, tomorrow you're a lock girl. We love it here. It's easy, it's fast, it's what we want if you need a style on the fly. The second pro is that it's customizable. So this time around I was able to say I want a lot of locks. Well, customizable to a certain extent. So I said I wanted a higher count of locks, extra small. I wanted 140, I ended up getting away with 133. Well, it's kind of customizable because it's also based on your hair density and how thick your hair is and how much space, like what your grid is looking like. So the loctician has to part your hair in a specific way and basically make those parts kind of try to match up to the lock extensions based on the size that you want. If you don't have enough hair to accommodate the locks that you're looking for, you're not going to be able to make it happen. So yes, I wanted 140 locks, but she was only technically able to get away with or fit 133 locks on my head this time around. So that's what I mean when I say it's customizable. I like the fact that I can pick how many locks I want. I can get them really large or I can get them really small. My previous sets, I think I've had 118, I've had 123, and this time around I have 133. So I'm going smaller, y'all. I'm like on my way to sister locks. The next pro to having lock extensions is that it's easy to manage. That's pretty straightforward. They're easy to manage. You don't really have to do too much to them. It's not your own hair, so you can't really get any damage done to the lock extensions. You still want to take care of them because it's an investment, but you really can't damage this portion of the hair because it's not yours. So the next pro to me is the color aspect of it. I love coloring my hair. I've literally done highlights on my hair twice during my lock journey with lock extensions, of course, and it was a great time. I've done jet black, I've done ombre hair colors, I've even thought about doing colors, but I've never been that bold. But yeah, it's easy to color and it's not your hair, so you're not going to incur any damage to your actual hair. The next pro to having lock extensions is that when you're tired of them, you can always cut them off and save them for later. I think that is beyond amazing. If you don't want them right now, you can cut them off, save them for later, and you can get them reinstalled at a later date if you would like to do so. So for me, that's a big pro because I like to kind of change up my style often, and being able to switch from loose natural to locks has been a benefit to me over the years. So definitely a pro. The next pro for me is that you can use it as a transitionary style, or you can use it as a protective style, meaning the first time that I ever got lock extensions, the purpose of it was so that I can grow my own natural hair out. And later on, when I wanted to comb them out, my hair was still there with some shedding, of course, but I had some decent length, and I posted a whole video for you guys. You can go check it out on my channel. But I absolutely love the fact that I was able to kind of grow my hair with it, or you can use it as a transitionary style. I've seen a lot of loose naturals go from being permed to being locked. So they have perms on their ends, but then their roots are kind of growing out natural. So then they just kind of lock their hair to try and retain their length. I think Bindi Mark has done that. She's a lock girl on YouTube that I love to watch. And a couple of other YouTubers who've gone from being relaxed to fully natural. And all they did was kind of snip their ends over the years, or just leave it as is, where they have that like wavy, loose kind of looking ends. It still looks pretty cute, but you can use it as a transition style if you don't want to go big chop to being natural. All right, now we're going to jump straight into the cons of having lock extensions. The first and the biggest con for me is the expense associated with it. I think they're pretty costly. Why I keep cutting them out and putting them back in over again, I don't know. It's insanity at this point. But they're pretty costly, and they can cost a lot depending on who you go to. So that's the first thing associated with it. It's not like just putting your own hair into twists and then just going about your business. I mean, this is kind of controversial, but the next con is that it's not your hair. So because it's not your hair, it's kind of like acting in whichever way it wants to. So for example, when I first got these, and even right now, they're a little stiff. Why? It's not my hair. My own hair isn't this stiff. It's more malleable. It moves around more. They've actually kind of loosened up over time, but when you first get them done, they're really stiff because it's not your hair. So that for me is a con. And because it's not your hair, it goes into the next couple of cons, which means that it can itch because it can be made of synthetic material, but this is 100% human hair. But you can still have an allergic reaction to it because it is processed hair. It can itch, and it can have like a chemical smell for a while. But once you wash it over time and take care of it, of course it goes away. Those are some of the cons that some people don't like about lock extensions, so I think it's fair to mention. The final con for lock extensions for me personally, and I've mentioned this in my previous videos, is that it may not match your own actual locks. So if you were a locked person before you got lock extensions attached, or based on your grid, your own natural hair could bud differently. It could be thinner or thicker than your lock extensions. And the only way to know that is over time. So time will tell whether or not if you're gonna have a match. But then locks are never perfect if you ever pay attention to it. So for me, that's not such a great con, but it still is a con nevertheless. Okay, let's pivot into having your own actual locks, the pros and cons of that. So this one is gonna be rapid fire because I don't have much to say about it, and the baby's probably gonna wake up soon, so I gotta go. But the pros of having your own actual locks is that it's your own actual hair. Like, that's just the bottom line. It's your own actual hair. Your grid is gonna match whatever density and the thickness of your hair, so you don't have to worry about that mismatch aspect that I was just talking about when it comes to lock extensions. The next pro is that there is no bad smell, no chemical smell, and there is no itching unless you have some sort of scalp condition. So because there isn't a smell and because it is your own hair, typically natural locks tend to be a lot healthier. If you take care of your hair, they'll be healthy in that regard. So the next pro, just like the previous one that I was telling you guys, is that locks are just easy to manage overall. You don't have to do much. Throw it up in a bun and you're good to go. It's your natural edges, it's your natural hair. Spritz it. If it's raining outside, you don't have to worry about puffing up or anything like that. You just go about your business. And then the last pro that I think some people find really important is that their journey can be really spiritual for them. So if you have lock extensions with your own natural hair, you may have a specific reason why you're doing it. It may be a spiritual journey. It may be an emotional thing for you. You might have some sort of attachment to your hair in a way where cutting it off or locking it means something significant to you. So that's the other pro that I find people tend to take away from it. All right, so the cons of having your own natural locks grow from your hair. So one of the biggest cons for me, which is why I got lock extensions, is that rough stage or the ugly transition stage where your hair starts to bud and it starts to get poofy and crazy looking, but you can't retwist too often, so you look kind of crazy. If you're working in corporate America or in any sort of job where you have to look a little bit presentable. I'm not saying that locks are not presentable, please don't chew me, but I'm saying that instead of having your hair look like they're freeform locks, which is a little bit crazy, for me personally, that beginning stage can kind of make you seem like you're not taking care of your hair, even though you really are. You could have moisturized your hair that morning, but because it doesn't look manicured, it kind of looks a little unkept. So when you're going to work, it's kind of like, okay, one lock is sticking this way, one lock is actually butting and heavy and weighing down. Like, what is my hair doing this morning? So during those times, it's kind of hard to try and figure out what to do. So that could be a major con. The next con to growing your own locks is that you can easily damage it. If you're into color, if you're into other styles, if you want to do a bunch of manipulation to it, you can damage your own natural hair. You can damage your scalp by getting traction alopecia. You can literally just ruin your own hair some way, somehow, if you're doing too much with locks. So that's one of the cons for me. If it's lock extensions and I damage it, oh well, it's not my hair. But when it's my own hair, it's pretty much a big deal. The final con for me, which may not be con to some other people, is that depending on the stage of life that you're in, you have to have the patience to be able to maintain, grow, and manage your locks. And if you don't have the patience to do so, you might as well just move on with your life, because locks do require a lot of patience and care and attention, but they're also low maintenance at the same time. It's kind of hard to describe, but if you decide to get locks, you will find out for yourself the ease of them, but also the delicacy in having locks and how beautiful the whole thing can be. All right, guys, those are my pros and cons to having lock extensions versus having your own locks.